So here we go. We have Dwight German.
He has unassigned tanks from his main general. What is this?
What? Yeah.
What is this playboy Dwight?
Wait, he's no longer using his tank general that he was assigned?
No, he took 2 tanks out of the fucking general.
It's pretty funny.
I mean, he might want to do some
well.
microing that is easier if you have it on another general, which might be worth the lack of the bonus.
Of course, changing the template icons, breaking rules
I
again.
don't think it's
Soviet.
I'm pretty sure you can pause it and just...
I mean, I generally wait for either they can unpause because it's already speed 2, or...
Yeah, because they are just gonna start on the 29th, or... the... Okay, there we go. But he has some infantry he's not using.
Okay, the game is go.
Interesting. And he's
Some
launching an
immediate infantry attacks from Germany against the Russians.
I don't know about this one. Does feel like a bit of a mental disabled play, but...
Yep.
And now he's getting counter-attacked by de-orged tanks. Huh. That's why you don't use strategic redeploy in the beginning. I don't know what Dwight is doing.
Well, I mean, Dwight is pushing for the classic encirclement that you do every multiplayer game.
Meanwhile,
PedeJo is
actually threatening
he's
the...
trying to push north from Konigsberg.
He is.
He's trying to get Memel, or out of Memel anyway.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Dwight's doing good around Lvov, but we have PedeJo tanks there.
Backing,
so, yes.
Yeah, the PedeJo tanks can literally just counter-attack.
Well, he's also attacking in Bessarabia, PedeJo, so...
Yep.
Yeah, that's an easy place to get a lot of infantry encircled.
It's an easy place, yes, but it does split your attention between 3 different very pitched battles.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but they are all planes, and you can just suppress those 2
Lvov
towns.
might get broken.
If you suppress those...
Look at all the org.
I mean, the tanks there still have a lot of war.
Oh, that was close.
Yeah, and if he
close.
can attack across the river with the infantry to increase the combat speed. It heads to see that nobody ever does that, but... Well, let's do it when I see something.
Okay, the small encirclement in the south. Like it could happen, but there's 2 German tanks that are ready to like pounce to stop
this
it.
This could be really bad, yes.
Well, yeah, but those 2 tanks are not gonna be enough if...
I mean, there should be enough to just pin the Soviet tanks.
Yeah, but if fucking PedeJo gets to attack them first... Oh, he didn't.
No, PedeJo should be pinning on his own and actually moving in there from the other side of the river, but it looks like he's not doing that.
He should pin the infantry. He's not doing that. That's...
He cleared it out, but he just didn't pin from either side and move in for some reason.
PedeJo is crossed in the north.
Okay, the tanks...
Oh, it's the meme.
Encirclement in this...
There's a big encirclement opportunity right there, yeah.
Ooh, yes, that's quite a bit of infantry. Bug German tanks in the north. Let's see if they die. Like, they could die if he takes the right provinces.
I think they will.
And the encirclement in the south was successful.
It's not looking good for Dwight.
Yeah.
And we always focus on tanks, but losing 7 infantry still hurts a lot.
Yeah, he's lost 2 tanks basically.
That's pretty low, like, low risk encirclement that you can do.
Oh, he switched the attack. If he wins that battle, he might...
Units
might survive.
Could get out. That's a weird bug, look at that. Defending in an enemy province.
Yes. What'll happen to them? Somebody should say if they're gonna die.
Oh,
Oh look, what?
the hell?
They kept the province
That's
behind.
amazing.
Right now, you
Yes.
should go with those two.
And then
tanks
he could
try to get
encircle-
some oil.
Yeah, he can
Yes.
encircle the
He's
service.
trying to break out of the encirclement now.
Yeah, but he should like
He
right now
counter
just
encircle.
push forward.
Yeah, if he goes left, he might be able to get it.
That was crazy. Lvov is empty. Well, not for long. But yeah.
Oh, I'm frozen. Shit.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean those German tanks are gonna die soon. Their org is not great.
I think he might lose 5 tanks to the bug in Königsberg. Oh no, they got out. Oh. I was looking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this encirclement ain't gonna break. It's just gonna stay like this.
I do think PedeJo is like very cocky here, spreading himself
He
quite thin
could try to
in the
push.
north now.
And I think he's gonna make a run for Cologne with that one tank.
Well, I mean, I think that's
Yes.
like the main trait of PedeJo is that he's very cocky and does a lot of shit for showmanship.
Yeah,
Yes,
and,
that one tank
this
is
tank
indeed
is
going to
definitely
Cologne.
going to Cologne.
Yeah, it is right click on Cologne.
Dwight is responding to it already. He's got
But
2
I mean,
tanks getting
I
across
think
now.
like he needs to be more careful about it in this game than in the Markoni game because I think Dwight is a lot better than Markoni, which means it can end up biting him in the ass
Yeah,
if he
we
gets
don't
too
we
close.
don't
Well,
actually have the 9,000 IQ plays in this game.
You also had, like, in the Markoni case, you had this massive encirclement that killed like a third of the Soviet army.
Oh, he's gonna try to
So
encircle
he
these
could
3
afford
tanks
quite a
as
bit
well.
of showmanship here.
He's gonna
No,
try to
The
encircle
only
these
problem is
3
that Dwight
tanks.
is actually not strat redeploying anything to stop this.
He
thing.
is, he is.
Alone.
Look at Berlin. There's
No,
2
they are
tanks
not
next to it.
encircling it. What are they doing? Screeching. No.
Oh, alright.
PedeJo.
Yeah, they.
What the hell?
PedeJo
PedeJo is gonna
shaking
get
my head.
surrounded.
Shaking
tanks.
my head.
2 tanks of PedeJo dying.
He has 3 tanks do nothing when his
Oh,
2
another
tanks
one
just
like
got
that.
encircled.
He's 2 tanks down, and Germany lost 1 tank, 2 tanks. Germany's down to 18
PedeJo
tanks.
is at Berlin.
so Germany lost 6 tanks versus 2 tanks.
Oh, 7 tanks actually.
Well, that tank is dead. PedeJo.
Yeah, so that's actually 3 tanks PedeJo just lost. Really not for good reason.
But that's 1
And
tank
that-
to Berlin
that
is a
actually-
good destruction.
I mean,
Yes.
like the fact that Germany didn't delete his battle plan or didn't adjust it means that all of those infantry are just like completely out of position now.
Yep.
Which did allow the Russians to push
And
very
2
aggressively.
tanks right there.
He's going for an encirclement in Warsaw.
Yeah, he's gonna get
himself.
a really big, try to do really big encirclement here. He's not pushing from the other side though, which is
So you could always say that the big benefit of those snakes is not actually like getting to a province, but if the enemy players just
like
bad
he's
enough.
about
not
to encircle 3 tanks.
It's a
here.
big distraction because you have to micro it. You have to strivey deploy.
Oh, if he just pushes this, yeah, he's pushing it.
It really forces you to actually utilize your infantry and
He's not pushing
redraw
from
the
other
battle
side,
plans for
which
them.
is-
Otherwise, they just get drawn.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
think the main reason is that Dwight is not the fastest player, so
Yeah,
she
he's
doesn't.
If he gets this, this
quickly-
is gonna be big.
A lot of these things go unnoticed and before it's too late, so now there's not a lot of infantry, but I mean, she can get out of this encirclement before it's too late if there's acted upon it.
oof.
That was close.
But Dwight is going greedy and going for the counter encirclement.
Oh,
Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it
Good
didn't
little
end up
tanks.
working out then. Dwight
Yeah.
lost 2 tanks because of it.
He might get him out in time.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
if
he needs
just
to
uses these
needs to
tanks.
attack
wait,
the
wait,
pocket
wait, there's
with the
1
tanks.
infantry going across the river, Jacob.
Yeah, but he's yeah, they died.
Oh yeah, alright, the orc was on 0.
Yeah, and it was gonna take 2 days for the infantry.
Germans are down to 15, 14 tanks. We just lost 1 to retreat bug.
Nothing's happening in Moldova, even though there's 4 Soviet tanks and 3 Germans. Now he's pushing something. Like, why are you pushing this? You pushed 1 tile. In my case, absolutely useless.
there's a big opening in Danzig for PedeJo to continue on beyond the river.
Yeah.
And there's only infantry there, so I think Dwight should maybe pull some tank off just to clean it up so that...
Yeah, and if he goes across the coast, there's only planes he can use.
How many tanks is Germany on?
14.
Ooh, 21 for
Unless-
Why is
Soviets.
this trying to do something across the river here?
Unless PedeJo makes like a crucial
Really
mistake, I think
slowly.
this is in his favor.
Yeah, it's also very important to note that the Russians do still have the entire infantry left.
Yeah, that's true. And Germany's lost 25.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that PedeJo, he played a lot safer than against Markoni, and I don't think Dwight was quite prepared for it. And they have taken very little casualties compared to how much they pushed, and the Germans have taken a lot of casualties and getting pushed back.
Yeah, when he sent that one tank to Cologne, at the same time he encircled 3 German tanks, so while Dwight took 1 Soviet tank, he lost 3. It was a good trade for PedeJo.
At this point, Joe can really just play it safe if he wants to.
Yeah, he's got the land advantage.
Yeah, I think PedeJo has an advantage in everything. I think what can happen that will fuck him up is if he goes too cocky and starts sending all kinds of tanks everywhere, it might bite him in the ass. But it looks like he's not underestimating Dwight and is playing it safely and not too extending into anything.
He is moving 4 tanks up into position to push that weaker
There's
northern
also
front.
8 Soviet tanks in Bessarabia now.
Yes.
Yeah, Bessarabia is a place up at the heaven.
He is going crazy with the encirclements.
There could be an easy encirclement at the province to rule them all.
And I think one of the German tanks is bugged out in Bessarabia.
It's very possible
Yes.
because he did counterattack crucially.
Let's see if it gets
Markoni
out.
is
It's gonna lose the battle. So we'll see.
Yeah, it died.
there's some aggressive plays in Moldova.
Similar thing might happen in Danzig. Oh, never mind. He's attacking and being attacked, but it's nothing.
Yeah, I mean that attack on Danzig isn't working.
Yeah, alright, so Dwight is taking back Danzig and securing the river line. But also Dwight actually attacked across the river and is now going for an encirclement.
But PedeJo controls the province to rule them all, and he has a good attacking point from there.
Yeah, and now the river breakthrough or spearhead is getting countered and pushed back across the other side of the river.
Yeah, it's quite hard. Like, sure,
It's just like PedeJo's much. Oh, they might lose Danzig.
it's so hard to push across the river, and like not necessarily because it's hard to actually like win the battle to cross the river.
Yeah,
But then, like-
especially because you have to attack a place across the river, which means you are in the most exposed
then
province in the game the
it's-
moment you cross it.
That's hard enough, but then it's even harder once you cross it to push out of it because it's
Well,
so
I mean,
easy
the
to
thing is,
counter
if you
push.
have a lot of tanks that crosses, you can actually attack every province, which means they can't attack you properly.
Well,
You're running the risk of getting retreat bug.
yes,
Yeah, of course, but I mean, risk and reward, right?
Yeah,
I mean, there's very little reward in case it's heavily defended.
yep.
Yeah, if it's heavily
There's a
defended, but,
point
I
to
mean,
be about
you get the
fighting
you get the
across.
element of surprise by attacking across the river.
I mean, do you really? Because it usually takes quite a long time in order to break across the river.
The way PedeJo is attacking in Bessarabia is very dangerous.
Oof. He might
Yeah.
get the circle.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's risking 4 tanks to get like 5 infantry. It's a bit.
Doesn't matter, it's 5 infantry.
And those infantry are even retreating.
He's not even gonna get them.
Oh, he might. 6 hours.
Oh yeah,
5
he's
hours.
gonna get them. 3, 2, 1.
There we go.
Yes.
Dwight pinned down the tank a little too late.
Dwight had more tanks here. He could have surrounded.
Yeah, it was 6 tanks to 1, I think. Oh, 8 tanks to 1, isn't it?
8 tanks in the vicinity at least.
Yeah. I think this Dwight has a lot of
Nothing
tanks
gonna happen if
in the north, but he's not doing anything.
You could have way fewer tanks just to guard the river. Now that he has that line back, he could
Maybe
defend it with fewer
few-
tanks than he needs.
Few tanks near Krakow.
I mean, PedeJo is, unless he's pushing across the river. Anyway, but if he did, like the only good terrain for PedeJo to attack in is like in Romania and Krakow. But
He should stop pushing. He's going too far south.
He's stretching his front. And he's also attacking with tanks into mountain, which is.
well, I mean, if you're stretching your own front, you're also stretching the enemy's front, right?
It's not worth it though in this area.
Well, if
because
the
it's-
enemy has less infantry than you, then it's perhaps worth it.
To be fair, at this point he might actually overstretch the Germans so much that the German front crumbles completely and he just has free reign.
Germany puts like 8 tanks there, and then Soviet loses everything. If he can easily get surrounded.
Yeah.
Well, that requires Germany to put 8 tanks there, and Germany doesn't have all too many tanks left anymore.
He's only got 13 left.
That's true.
Well, I
I
don't,
mean,
I
if they
don't think he
concentrate
needs
8 tanks
that
down
many.
there, that means that the 13 tanks up north have.
And I think
Essentially
PedeJo's
free
about
reign
to
to
encircle
push
Did
it
he
off.
just activate the battle plan?
Ooh.
No,
Doing
he
it.
fucking selected all units and right click.
Okay.
Oh, this is a bad
This is bad for Germany.
This is a really bad misclick
By who?
Oh,
by
there
Germany.
might be another couple of.
He selected all of the infantry and right clicked that
Oh, he's
one
spinning.
province in Krakow.
That was a good pin.
There was a very good thing.
This was really bad for Germany. Bad misplay.
I mean, now PedeJo is extending west, which means that like he
Well,
is
yeah,
like
but,
in less danger to be
All of
surrounded in the
Germany's
south.
infantry is going to Krakow.
Oh god, you're right.
Because he fucking...
Oh, wow.
What?
That's
Oh
really
wait,
bad.
then it hasn't been corrected yet.
Nope.
Oh,
That's pretty
Jesus.
weird.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Really bad.
The entire front is open.
Do
Unless
something.
he meant to
Okay,
do
now
that.
he stopped all units.
Oh.
I mean,
Thank God.
What's
currently,
going on?
he could just. Our Soviet player could just open his own battle plan and gain a lot of land.
Yes.
But
I don't think PedeJo actually was aware of what happened before they got back.
Probably still microing in Romania.
there's still a lot of units going back.
Well, he is utilizing all those open provinces in the south, pushing with his infantry wherever he can.
There's a really easy encirclement in Bucharest.
Yes. And here comes the
Interestingly enough, he
tanks
keeps
are
the river as his front line, as opposed to just pushing across it, getting even more land.
I mean, he doesn't need to do anything risky. He has gained so much land from Germany.
Yeah.
Just play it safe now. Secure what he's got. Yeah, like if he gets the river line, like he already has most of the river line in the south, but like if he gets all of it and then he defends in the north where he has the rivers in like Poland, which is awesome, and then he defends in the mountains in Stanislavo, it's basically unbreakable. Like he's got like almost the perfect position from which to defend and like never lose anything right now.
I mean, currently still doesn't quite own all the mountains.
Yeah, if he
really
owned all the mountains
Transylvania.
in North Transylvania, that would be the perfect position.
So the White has actually given up on the southern front. He has taken all of his infantry out of there.
I mean, really, there's no reason for Dwight to contest that ground now. He should just,
Yes.
you know,
Well, he
move the
has a
battle
river
back from
there.
it.
I mean, he needs to do something, otherwise this is just GG.
Right
gonna-
now he has another small river here, if he can hold that. It's gonna be a stalemate.
I mean, the only way he could even push anything would probably be around, or just Krakow, where he has a plains province to attack from. two
I
directions.
disagree pushing in Bulgaria with that.
Krakow.
Yeah, it's
He has activated training on his infantry.
no. Yes.
Look at all the orc that they have.
I wonder, like, if you're allowed
What
to
if
train
you
your
like-
units.
I'm pretty sure that was a misclick.
Nah,
Like-
that has to have been on purpose for the memes. You don't accidentally click training.
You do. Sometimes. Yeah, like the push in Bulgaria is very risky. Like, cause now he's not holding the river lines, so like now his infantry might do weird stuff and get destroyed.
Well, I think his infantry will go into Turkey.
Oh, he's about to get 2 times surrounded.
I mean, he is gaining a lot of land, so it means
It doesn't matter
that,
because he hasn't lost any.
yes.
As long as he has
Yeah,
one
I think
extra
it's
province.
maybe worth it, considering the infantry advantage he has.
Yeah. But it feels like Dwight has given up at this point. Like he's not attacking anywhere. is he?
Yeah, he's not trying to do anything offensively.
He might just
I
be
mean, he-
stalling the loss right now in order to not be a quick loss.
He's attacking to the southeast of Warsaw, which like doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah, with one
Doesn't-
tank. He'll at least be building planning. But I guess he is building planning. But...
He doesn't have planning on that tank though. That's attacking.
No, he has planning bonus near Danzig.
Oh, okay. He might get. Soviet might get Greece at this point.
And the Russian infantry just sweeping up from the
Yeah,
south.
I'm waiting for the Köln meme.
Yeah, he should just rush for Cologne now. And actually, because Dwight has changed his battle plan, I'm not sure it would actually automatically go to it.
He could try it from the south, yeah.
Yes, from the south. Issue with Russian Cologne is that there are so many rivers to get there. They slow it down a lot.
Yeah.
I wonder if he right clicks one of those tanks to Köln, how long would that be?
Probably about
30 days or something.
20 days.
Well, those tanks are pretty fast, to be fair.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's a shit ton of rivers.
Yes, that's the problem.
And once his supply is cut out, he's gonna have gold lights.
I'm actually quite surprised at how many tanks PedeJo keeps in the north.
Yeah, it is a bit excessive, yeah.
I
Then
think
again,
just PedeJo's just playing it safe and making sure there's no pushes across
Yeah.
the river.
Then again,
Yeah.
like, Germany has tanks there too, so,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. So as long as Germany has tanks there, they can actually push across the river,
Yes.
which means that he needs tanks to defend that.
Yeah.
He could push in Krakow.
I agree, but he doesn't actually need as many tanks, and he has more tanks than Germany up north.
The thing
Well,
is
that
he-
is true, but I mean, I think it's just he's playing it extra safe because of the advantage he has in infantry and just
Yeah.
extending the front line, so Germany can't really put infantry everywhere.
Yeah, Germany has what, 4 tanks in the south, and the rest in the north. And Soviets have 8, and they still have more tanks in the north. In Germany.
Oh, resistance to occupation in Istanbul. Yes,
Oh, no.
Istanbul is resisting.
The southern front has collapsed.
The infrastructure will be destroyed in Istanbul. That is key for the supply of PedeJo.
It it wasn't broken at all. Fuck you on about.
Yeah, but the resistance will break it.
Oh yes, of course. Will he move
I'm
some
actually
troops
surprised that Istanbul is the only province resisting.
Well, he has troops everywhere else. Well, he has had to be.
Well, in East Prussia he does have troops, but they are like not in the city at all. They're like just at the border of it.
It's because like the border states of Istanbul are kind of resisting as well.
He doesn't have any troops in Memel.
So we have a tank making a break for it in the south right
But
now.
there's no other state resisting.
Looking
Wait,
like
why
he's
is Memel not resisting? I don't understand.
Because there is no border state resisting. I don't know.
That's not how it works, because how does one state start resisting if no border state is resisting?
I don't know.
Thinking.
Oh, there's 2 German tanks encircled in the middle.
Yes.
Krakow.
Doesn't matter, like Soviets
So
gained
if we
so
look
much
at the Kakao, Dwight actually got 2 German tanks, Soviet
Yes.
tanks encircled.
Here comes the
Where?
tank for Köln. It's still going.
Kakao?
Krakow. Oh shit. Oh, he memed him with the province to rule them all. Oh, that was a nice play.
And Dwight's battle plan doesn't extend.
But does he see this tank going for Cologne?
Look at the tank going
I
below.
don't think so. It's
He's
getting
reacting
there.
to it. He is
7
reacting.
days left.
He has
If
a tank
doesn't
going to
break the
Munich.
supply lines. And there's a shit ton of infantry pouring in. I would say now would be the time to activate battle plan.
Oh god,
Yeah, I mean,
7
unless
days.
I don't think Dwight actually has enough infantry to actually stop this, because they're getting supplies from ports and shit. And
Yes,
the cities
but
are taken on the way.
they don't have even a battle plan there.
What the hell? Dwight had a tank in Munich, but then he seemed to have misclicked it. It's really weird.
Oh.
Well, White is attacking
There
the
we
tank
go.
now. But the tank is in mountains.
Yes.
Sending another one as well, but it's not strat redeploying, it's moving. Just driving.
Well, I think
least
that
White
Petro
saw
is
it.
gonna get
Good.
Cologne with this tank.
That tank was assigned to a battle plan, so now it's retreating back to Danzig automatically.
Oof.
That's
Uh-oh.
really bad.
That's oof.
Dwight
I
hasn't
assume
Four
he's
noticed.
started
days.
deploying
Fine.
there, because that would be the worst one.
5 days.
5
Oh, he's noticed
days.
it now, he's noticed. He's not strat
It's
redeploying.
changing a shit ton because of the supplies.
Yeah. Oh, getting Stuttgart will be good.
About 4 days and PedeJo is in Cologne. He wants to cross the river right now.
He's going from the other side. Oh, the
Yeah,
memes.
because if there's German tanks coming to stop him, then
Yes,
he will be protected by the river.
yes. The place. That's one long snake line in the south.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at... Oh, did he just do...
And the
Yeah.
infantry's coming in the Congo line.
Ooh,
That is
Dwight
pretty funny
just
to watch.
got there. PedeJo is...
Rip.
Oh,
Memes.
it's
got
gonna go
broken.
into Cologne.
Still moving.
But
Yeah,
if it goes
So
there,
that allows him
PedeJo
to cross
is
the river,
able to-
and all that
The thing
infantry
is,
can like
guys-
come after the tank.
So that tank is on a battle plan, right? So it always keeps going back
Whoa!
to
What's
Danzig.
he doing?
Why,
he's not
why
taking it
don't
off the battle
you
plan.
Dwight unassign it?
Yeah, it's going back
He's
to
not going
Danzig.
to-
Oh my god, he got killed! He got killed!
Oh. 2 hours, 1 hour.
There you
Oh,
go.
it's GG.
Oof.
That's game.
GG.
He never even cut the snake.
Hello,
No,
guys.
he never cut the snake.
That's game.
So
I trained my unit.
Yes.
Oh my god.
You
You
didn't take it off the battle
to
plan.
The battle plan. By shaking my head.
The #1 victory by taking the other's major city. I'm
Major
happy.
City. Oh shit. Why did they decide it was Cologne?
Because it's on the west bank of the Rhine.
Probably also because
Like-
it's similarly far away from the initial front line as Moscow.
I think it should have been Paris.
I
that
think
would take
it should have
ages,
been
yeah.
London.
That might be.
Yeah, it should have been London.
Good.
Köln is pretty hard.
Yeah, I think the Soviet Union's town should actually have been San Francisco.
Yeah, but they own San Francisco.
Yeah, no, the Soviets like surrender town should have been San
Ah,
Francisco.
yes. I agree. Yeah, for the Germans, it should be Sao Paulo, Brazil.
For German, it should be Labrador.
Ah, yes, I proved everyone wrong by pushing into Romania.
Well, Dwight didn't have his infantry battle plan even extending that far.
They said it couldn't be done.
Who the fuck said it couldn't be done?
Like,
Yeah.
literally anyone casting these games and sees someone pulling tanks towards Moldova.
Well, I guess we're looking for game number 2 now.
Well, yeah, I suppose.
Yep. Need the ID.
How the hell my better play becomes shorter? I don't understand.
Just bad at the game.
Get roasted. I think Prussian Prince is dead. So,
I'm dead, what?
wait, who's hosting?
It was no one's.
Oh, I think no one is dead then.
No
Oh,
one is
nice.
dead. No one is
No one
dead.
is dead.
It's great. No one ever dies in these games. I'm really happy about that.
No one's and me have one mutual friend on Discord, apparently.
It's
Who could it
Markoni.
be?
It is someone none of you know.
Wait, do you have friends on Discord?
Yeah,
The
I know.
question is,
People,
do you
people
have
have
friends?
friends on Discord.
Oh wait, PedeJo, we are friends on Discord.
Fuck this shit, I'm unfriending you.
Alright, I'm unfriending you first.
I was
Wait,
first.
oh fuck! You unfriended me just before.
Observing Dwight, who is the Soviets, and we got PedeJo on Germany
Alright.
now.
So whenever I play this game and I'm in observer mode and PedeJo is playing as a player, I always end up being the country, co-oping the country he's playing. And I think I might know why. I think it's a bug in the system where because I have the same profile picture as him on Steam, it somehow confuses me for the same player. What do you think?
What? Let's say that again.
Alright,
Reading
so
chat.
every time I spectate a game where PedeJo is
Yes.
in, I end up being the same country as him, like co-oping just. I just
Yeah.
don't touch anything.
That,
I
yeah,
have the
that's pretty
same.
funny.
I have the same profile picture on Steam as him, and I have some theory about it, some sort of identification the
course.
game does.
Of course. Oh,
This just shows how broken the multiplayer is in spectator mode.
I got the spectator thing, but I somehow I can't just switch nations. I'm not sure why.
Alright, so you're also locked into a nation. Which nation are you looking at?
oh,
I'm looking
I
at
can
the Soviets.
switch.
Yeah,
I can switch.
Can you
How do I switch?
can you control the Soviet Union units? Don't do it.
No, I don't think so.
Alright. Because I can actually control the Soviet units even
Okay,
though because I was never in spectator mode to begin with.
I'm on Germany then, since it looks like everyone is on Soviets. Oh, tanks bugged for Soviets. Three
Hey,
of them.
Prussian, how do you switch?
Like control click on a province of the other guy. And like sometimes you have to do it multiple times, and sometimes it never works.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to ever work.
Well, I just click on the binocular actually, and then click on the nation.
Control click works. Ooh, this could be bad if yeah. We'll see if that reinforces. It probably won't. If he loses the battle, he might get wiped here.
But this was an incredibly early push for Luwo, which is generally a death sentence for the Russians.
PedeJo going completely crazy in the north.
I think his main craziness is in the center. I mean, look at Luo. As well as trying to push across the river. Currently being stopped by enough tanks, but I think, yeah, look at it. He's breaking out of Luo quite effectively.
Oh, it's a 40.
Meanwhile, 3 tanks of the Soviets already dead due to the bug.
Oh my goodness, he's gonna get this. He's gonna get this. The surround in the south is.
That is a huge surround.
Oh,
That's like.
I think he stopped the attack. Where he just had the org so low and
That's
he
about
stopped
a third
the
of
attack.
the Soviet army. Right there.
That was unfortunate. He should have continued the attack.
He should, but this entire army right here is currently highly threatened.
Yeah,
So
now
you play,
3 tanks
probably
from
would
the
try to,
Soviets
like-
just got encircled in Prussia.
Oh, that's 3 tanks, 2 infantry. Dwight's falling apart.
I mean, there's another 3 tanks still perpetually attacking the Germans.
But I mean, the worst thing about this is I'm pretty sure Dwight is still gonna make it out of this group.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, the other 2 players are Markoni and HoI4.
Yeah, those tanks will be destroying. I mean, it's a risky surround in the south, but like it might work. Germany hasn't lost any units yet. Pretty good, of course.
Soviets are 3 infantry and 3 tanks down due to their surround in the north. It has been cleaned up quite nicely. And really, you should say the Soviets are already down to 18 tanks because there's another 3 just waiting to die. And even if they wouldn't be waiting to die, they're still out of action for a long ass time.
That tank will get broken though. So
This round happened, but
will
yeah.
get, yeah.
This round currently is like way too weak. Just 1 province is not quite enough.
Oh, he's sending tanks over, but they're not gonna get there in time. Or will they? 5 hours? 4 hours? Those? Yeah, they got there.
Okay, tanks got in. But he is
But
currently
they-
attacking
yes.
out with some fairly weak tanks. Oh, and he
Yes,
abandoned the
cement
province
pockets.
again. He abandoned the province for no reason.
Oh, 4 tanks surrounded in Germany. It's huge.
Four German tanks had very, very low orcs around it.
Ooh,
Oh my
they
god,
all
did it just
died.
get crushed? They just got crushed.
Yes.
Alright,
Good
I
place
was gone
by
for a
Dwight.
second. What happened? I just heard something about Prussia.
4 tanks just died.
Now, if
Oh, 4 German tanks.
Yes, they got surrounded.
and Dwight
around
appears
Lvov.
to have rescued the 3 tanks that were in perpetual attack as well. So currently we have 21 Soviet tanks versus 20 German tanks. This is actually
Pretty good for Dwight.
quite huge.
Yeah, and a lot of the German tanks are actually busy in Prussia, so if Dwight takes the tank advantage in the more southern regions, perhaps can go for some place.
Yeah.
So
Province.
currently Dwight is not looking enough into north where the tanks are currently pushing into a very, very dangerous encirclement.
Yeah, and these 2 tanks, they're way too far away to get out.
Looks like that encirclement's gonna happen.
Oh wait, they might get out. They're attacking the tanks.
It's in the forest,
Oh.
so...
Well, they were winning the battle, but now Dwight is pulling
Oh, nice
and pinning
pin.
them.
No,
Very
he,
nice
he
pin.
really needs to pin. He was a miss to pin, so now Dwight can essentially evacuate that the entire.
Oh, you might lose the infantry, which would be okay compared to the rest.
It would, though. I mean, 10 infantry. That still hurts a lot.
Yeah, it's still annoying, but better than losing
Well,
3
I mean, I
tanks.
think, like, in this stage of the game it doesn't hurt yet, because you can still supply your entire front line with enough width.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal right now. Oh,
And
Oh,
they're
he was
even
able to
getting
break
out.
them up.
no.
He was almost able to break them out,
Yeah.
but looks like they're gonna die right now.
Maybe, but I mean, it is 11 tanks pushing out trying to rescue them.
This is a lot of pushing.
In and of itself is it's a lot of commitment for just those few infantry, and could really hurt in other areas.
Yeah, but if we look further north, there's also tanks stationed there which could go for a counter encirclement.
Meanwhile, we have PedeJo trying to go for the encirclement in the south again.
Save the infantry in the north.
I do think we should not undervalue infantry. Like, losing 10 infantry is very, very close to losing a tank in terms of value.
I think a tank has more value than 10 infantry currently in
Yeah.
this stage of the game. But if you look at the north, Dwight has 4 tanks just standing there. They could really, if they went down and tried to close off this encirclement, that could actually be quite huge.
Dwight does currently have 4 tanks retreat attacking in the north, though.
Yes, but they're not gonna lose that battle, so they're not gonna be lost.
So PedeJo also there's 2 tanks, German tanks in the north are very precarious. He just realized and tries to pull them out right now. Yeah, I think they'll be fine right there. Meanwhile, Germany managed to push across the river in the south of the Luo pocket.
Yeah, and now Dwight is actually going for what I said about using the northern tanks to try and close off the encirclement. But I think it's kind of too late because now Germany is pushing the other side of the encirclement and the tanks south got pushed back and now they're not moving, they're just standing there.
Dwight has lost another tank somewhere. I'm not quite sure where, but he's down to 20 now.
Same as Germany.
If it was just one tank, I think it must have been a retreat log or something.
Circling more infantry, so
How's the German infantry looking? How many does it have?
150, he hasn't lost a single one.
Okay, so it is still pretty favored towards Germany.
Yeah, he's pushed a lot as well. Yeah, he's pushing out of Lvov with 8 tanks. It's gonna be like huge potential for an encirclement with all those tanks. Like he will defend himself with the river to like the south, and Soviet has all his tanks there, so he can't cross, which is going to be problematic. Because then his tanks in those forests are useless compared to having them above. He could actually push from above, not from here, over the river. It's a large river crossing. Not to mention they're more vulnerable here in this pocket as well.
Then you just have those 3 Soviet tanks desperately trying to make an encirclement happen of just 3 German infantry units. It's really not worth all that commitment.
Encircling Lvov is definitely a possibility now. He's moving to the wrong province.
Yeah, if you look at Lvov,
Oh no, he's
Russia
doing
might
the right
actually
thing.
get a chance to encircle these Germans.
You could wipe it actually. Never mind. Oh no.
No, they're
no.
gonna make it. Oh,
Yeah, just barely. Like 2 or 3 hours. It's close.
I get what he's trying to do. Like you can't really get the Lvov encirclement with just one width snake. That just is too easy to break out and too easy to get encircled in.
Yes.
Ideally, you'd want to make the corridor pretty wide, even like 3 wide, but that's very difficult to pull off.
Still doing like the wrong thing, attacking Lvov over the river. like that with the tanks. It's not really ideal.
Yeah, that's,
Meanwhile, in the north, Dwight has lost another tank on the attack.
PedeJo just finished off the Lvov encirclement, and that's 3 tanks and a lot of infantry.
Oh, that tank will get there. No, it's so close again.
Yeah, but
Right.
PedeJo just has more tanks here, so I don't see.
Dwight
it
just
separating
paid
us.
dearly for trying to encircle just 3 German infantry in the north.
Now PedeJo is pushing him out in the south, so he's securing the encirclement.
Yes, as long as he can keep that, he just won the game essentially. All he needs to do is concentrate his forces now.
There is a slight problem directly to the east of that pocket. There's Soviet tanks that could do something. Break it out, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, I think the main problem Dwight has had the entire series here is just that Dwight has not reacted quickly enough, and not like a lot of the times this has just been tanks doing nothing, even though there could have been good things they could have done. And PedeJo just being a lot faster at everything than Dwight.
Shit. This game is lit AF.
What are you talking about? It's a total smash.
Well, because there's a really big encirclement.
That's Stanislav. Pocket is really a two-edged sword in these games usually. Like it's a very whenever Germany gets it, it's a huge blow to the Russians. But for the Russians, it's also a good trap to get Germany in and try to encircle them from there.
I mean, he already lost tanks attempting to do it, so.
I mean, I think also in a normally you would get it takes so long to get the encirclement that you can actually get your tanks out of there, so it's only infantry you're gonna capture in the world.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's only infantry, it's still a massive blow. If you lose 30 infantry,
Yeah,
that
of
is
course it's
huge.
a massive blow, but I'm talking I don't think it's quite worth it for Germany to actually do it because of how hard it is.
It is always worth it if you can get it. So it's always worth to try, I think. I think whenever you realize that your opponent is good enough or reacted quickly enough to stop you, you should reprioritize. But you should always take a good look at that.
Oh look, I
That
think Dwight
region.
actually might save the Lvov tanks.
He'll save some of them potentially. Though that one with corridor is not really holdable for
He
very
needs
long.
to needs
Needs
to
to
pin
pin
down
it.
Lvov before.
We will save one
Oh yeah,
minimum.
you just need to retreat those tanks defending.
Oh,
Oh
going
no,
the wrong
tanks are
way.
retreating the wrong way. Yeah, come on.
Oh,
That's not good. Now Dwight just got more tanks stuck in the encirclement.
he's winning that
Oh.
province. He's winning it.
Yeah, alright.
There's no German. There's not
In
too
the
many
province,
German
but there's
tanks
German
around.
tanks
Yeah, they're
coming
getting
back
pinned
into
and another
Yes.
German tank is trying to enter, so that German tank needs to be pinned.
He's gonna get pinned for a long time in that province. Like
Again,
all those
it's just
infantry.
like the slow reactions are just making it so that he just exactly doesn't get out or something like that.
I mean, to be fair, it's very hard oftentimes when you try to get into those crucial moments with your tanks. They are very low orc. They get into the province and they immediately get counterattacked. So they get
Yeah, of
retreat
course,
in
it's-
whichever direction they want to, and you have very
Freaking it
little
out.
time to react.
Oh, now alright. They might. Yeah, now they're gonna get out.
He's
Still
opened the
lost
pocket
a lot.
again, but you see, the tanks are again very low orc.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
still lost
but
a lot
I think
in a
the main
smaller
problem is
encirclement.
just that a lot of the time they're just standing still instead of trying to escape. And if they keep just escaping, and you actually manually retreat them the right way, instead of them going back into the encirclement, you can get them out.
It is, but it's also very, very risky because essentially, since he's so good at pinning right now, the German player is really good at pinning the tanks, you'd always have to do a forced retreat into that direction, meaning if that province gets taken before the tanks get there, they get wiped.
Yeah, of course, but then it's
Wait,
just a question of constantly pinning with your infantry so that they don't take the province.
Yeah. And now the encirclement is done. Dwight should be calling GG soon.
Down 15 or 25 infantry, as well as 7 tanks. Not counting the pocketed ones that are very low orc now.
And like, he has a lot of land to regain as well.
Is your opinion on the land front? I generally think that the land really doesn't matter that much. Like, if I could use land to destroy enemy units, I always will. But as soon as I get the unit advantage, I know I can keep on pushing.
Depends on how much land. If you get the Leningrad, it's gonna be rough. Yeah, which I did.
You don't want to give up everything, but you can give up a lot of land if it actually helps you destroy units.
That's true. Especially in the beginning, you can give up land because you have the most time. But you also gotta
think about it. If your enemy is playing very conservatively, they might actually just go for land victory, where it isn't particularly to your advantage that they're taking a few tiles.
I mean, it always depends, of course, how you make them take it. But oftentimes it's a lot easier to get an encirclement when they're trying to be on the offense than you trying to dig it out yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I think that depends on your playstyle, because I would disagree with that. It's easier to get encirclements if you're offensively trying to get them.
Depends.
Yeah, as I said, I think it depends on your playstyle, because if you're not very confident with all. Also, if you rely on the enemy going into bad situations, you rely on the enemy playing risk.
Yeah, if your opponent is super aggressive, like just waiting for him to make a mistake and do the right play.
Yeah, but I mean, PedeJo, like he hasn't really faced enemy that's comparative in skill to him yet. But looking at his plays, when he's not like getting cocky because he's winning, he's actually playing very conservatively, and I think it's hard to get those counter encirclements of his attacks.
I'm waiting for that pocket to finish.
The Lua pocket, it's not very interesting anymore, but it is the thing that essentially calls game as soon as it's gone.
So, the doctrine they have is mobile warfare, but I actually think it would be more interesting if they had mass assault doctrine, so they could survive longer in the pockets.
I think you're insane and you just want to make us suffer.
What is your problem with mass assault?
My problem is that even longer pockets would just make the game worse for us to watch.
Nah, I think it's more interesting because it's more risky making the pockets.
It's less risky being in the pockets. So it's less of a desperate move of like moving the tanks in to try to break it.
Exactly. But I think it just makes the game more interesting. Well, I mean, you gotta remember that units in the pocket, even though they're fighting at full strength, if they die anyway. So often the pockets are finished up before they get into the supply case.
Wow, those losses, 500k to 1.3 million.
Russia got to the stage where he just doesn't have enough infantry to adequately man his border anymore.
Yeah,
There's two German tanks sitting in a mammal that could literally just break through everything and crush a bunch of infantry easily.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that Germany has won now. I think PedeJo just wants to take Moscow.
I'm waiting for the GG. But no GG.
Currently 14 tanks, 106 infantry for the Russians. It's not looking great.
That looks so good.
I find it actually curious that he's still trying to push so much in the south and that Germany doesn't switch him a lot more tanks northward. Because currently there seems to be like an easy push since there's so few units across the river and on from there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like the game is not being played super serious anymore because it's pretty much over. I don't know though.
There goes another 8 infantry and 1 tank. Brogan leaving the chat looking for the surrender, I guess. Germany now appears to be attacking across the entire front. Has he activated his battle plan? Oh, he's crossing the river in Bessarabia even.
I'm back. Game isn't over yet?
No,
Wow.
and have stopped casting. Because nobody was here. Just playing off myself sounds terrible. I mean, PedeJo is doing his cocky routine once more. Just lashing out with his tanks. Pushing out in Bastarabia as well. I mean, it's over really.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, how many tanks does he have left? Currently, there's still 13 Soviet tanks around.
19 for Germany. What?
That's a pretty big advantage, though. I mean, to be fair, there's some German tanks getting themselves surrounded right now.
That Moscow though, it's getting really close. He just got cut off though, so.
He got cut off, but the reinforcements are very slow.
Oh.
He got there.
Yes.
He has no orc on those tanks.
I think this is gonna be close.
He's strat redeploying into Moscow right now. He'll get there first, but he has no orc whatsoever.
Yeah, the other infantry's coming in though, so the pin might be real. Just dropping
again,
the
no orc on that
but-
infantry.
Oh, he's gonna get this just barely. Not. I mean, he might just. Yeah.
All about how
there
many.
we go.
Oh no, he just got it.
He has no org.
Oh no, the German tank just got pinned with an actual full orc.
No
Or
me
near
this
full
time.
orc.
If he had, just imagine he had 2 tanks instead of 1. But
He
that's
would
an
have had
even
it.
bigger risk.
That was very close.
It's an even bigger risk. Though, sending 2 tanks.
I mean, he did send 3 tanks up there. How many does he have now? I guess he got the other 2 back.
18. That's 18.
Yeah, so he was able to pull 2 tanks back from that very, very long attack. But look at it. Like, the Soviet front is completely in shambles now. Now would be the time for the Germans to just activate a battle plan and just gain a ton of land for essentially free. While half the Soviet armies spread redeploying back to the front.
There are some huge attrition problems though in Zitomir for Germany. He's suffering massive attrition, 12%. So like his units aren't being very effective there. Minus 25% to their stats due to being low on supply.
True, we should just pull out some of his units. I mean, he'd have a really good chance to just push in the north anyways, like in the Latvia area.
Oh,
All
yes.
he needs is just like move some of his tanks from the center up there and he just breaks through, no problem.
He already has 2 tanks there. Some more wouldn't hurt.
So he is also light on infantry up there for some reason. Not sure why, because he does still seem to have almost all of his infantry, or all of it.
I see why. He's got like small encirclements and like some provinces. Like you see northeast of Kiev, there's 1 province. He has a battle plan on that, to which 46 divisions are assigned to. Like that 1 province northeast of Kiev. That's why his like front line is manned so poorly. And then like the other encirclements, he has divisions assigned to them as well. 25 here, 26 there. So that's why, in effect, basically he actually doesn't have as much infantry as Soviets, because they're not on the right battle plans, so they're not doing anything. Oh, he could encircle the Soviets here? I think Dwight's looking though.
Yeah, even if he does, it won't be too significant an encirclement.
Well, 1 tank is 1 tank. And
Oh,
like
500
some
in 1
infantry,
tank, yeah.
yeah.
Though Dwight
But-
could still break that out,
Yeah,
no problem.
and he might wipe 2 German tanks instead, like north of that.
But the Soviet tank is already wiped. Yeah, he could have gotten that encirclement out, really, I think. If he just
Germany
moved
might
north
get
of
out
Kiev.
if he's like not pinned. This could be problematic. He should pin those 2 tanks. Dwight should. He's not pinning. Oh, so close to getting out.
Those German tanks are essentially already out.
They should be saved now, yeah. It's a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, the pins are just not enough. With the infantry, those pins last you for like a day or two at most. Or not even that, just like for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah. Around Minsk, however, 2 more German tanks. But there's nothing to kill them. It's just pure infantry, so they won't kill him. I mean, if some Soviet tanks were there, different story.
Yeah, but this way they're just gonna roll into Minsk and have supply forever anyways.
Yes. And they will kill everything.
The Soviets are down to 11 tanks, so you can't expect them to have them everywhere.
Yes.
The moving 5 of them in one stack seems a bit foolish if you have so few of them.
Yeah. And he has some in marshes, which like you don't really need tanks in marshes. Like you could be using them in better places. Looks like the surround of the entire south has happened, but like it's flimsy. Like Soviet could potentially break out of that.
It's very flimsy, but you have to keep in mind that there's a lot more German tanks than there's Soviet
yes,
tanks.
they just there's like 6 tanks that just arrived there near Kiev. They should be spreading out to the south to ensure the Soviets can't break out.
If you should try to move some infantry in order to do just that.
Yeah, I mean they're sucking up a lot of supply.
Faster.
Lots of supply being sucked out of that supply zone because of those, and he's 80 out of 40 in terms of supply there. So that's not good supply-wise.
It's terrible, but of course if you can get the pocket secured then it's worth it, especially since the pocket shouldn't take long enough for that supply penalty to really take effect. The real problem is that he spent so long in the other supply penalty that these tanks are still suffering from that.
Yeah.
Like if there were fresh tanks coming in from a perfectly supplied area, this lack of supply would be no issue.
This has fallen. Should really see Dwight GGing at this point though. Like there's no way he's winning.
Yeah, I would have expected GG quite some time ago, but hey, he just utilized that very flimsy encirclement that Germans did near Riga to try to kill some Germans, and it seems to have been fairly successful, though the German tanks seem to have been able to get out by the seas.
Wilno being attacked, and that's gonna be another surround of lots of Soviet infantry.
I did break out the southern surround, which at this point, looking at that German organization, it just looks awful.
Yes.
But that surround seems to have hurt his organization more so than the Soviet organization. But thanks to him moving all those troops down there, now he has like supply again in his main attacking area.
Yep. And he will surround that again in the south with those 2 new tanks.
Yep, I see the 2 tanks trying to close it off again.
Yep. And in the north around Wilno, another pretty big surround is happening. Soviet doesn't have any tanks there. So it's definitely gonna happen.
He does now have 1.
Oh, he has 1. Actually got into the battle just in time. He almost lost the city. So now he's gonna like hold it for a bit longer.
Well, a couple of German tanks desperately trying to break out the infantry in the north.
Yeah, and they probably will. Probably. Unless there's
and
like some other units
there. What is it? That's another 20 Soviet infantry just completely dead. There's no way that they will break out of that encirclement ever.
Ooh, Germany got cut off to the north of northeast of Königsberg.
Oh, the tanks that went to safety infantry got cut off.
Like this
Thanks
is
to that one heroic Soviet tank, but the cutoff isn't actually anything dangerous.
Yeah, it's
really.
not. if there were more tanks again, it would be different. But...
There were more tanks, or at least enough backing up infantry,
Yes.
but there just isn't.
Yeah.
Soviets are down to 90k, 21 of which are currently sitting in an encirclement.
Yes,
Being
the
picked off.
encirclement.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Bereit. Zeigt
That
es
will-known
ihnen.
encirclement seems to be happening.
Weiter, weiter. Los, ausrücken.
With just a very few infantry units, but I mean they still count for a little bit. Still inching him closer to his ultimate
Yeah.
victory.
And eventually he won't have enough infantry to have like one in per province even.
He already is at that point. The Soviets, they already do not have enough.
How many units does he have, the infantry?
I mean, currently that are still able to man he has 90 infantry units total, but
Okay.
21 of which are not in his own territory
Yeah.
anymore.
Zeigt es ihnen.
Then
Plus there's another surround going on right now, which there's another maybe 5 or 6. So honestly, he's down to maybe
Ooh.
60 plus
rip 4
units, and
tanks.
60 is not enough.
Rip 4 tanks in like the Kiev area.
Yeah, that's
About
around
it,
where I
yeah.
was talking about the infantry as well.
Yeah.
Befehle.
So Germany has committed a huge amount in order to wipe up those 21 units in the south.
Bereit.
Yeah, they will all be free.
Soon
Soon.
they'll be free, and then Germany will just have overwhelming
Yes.
numbers.
Zuhören.
Maybe Dwight is thinking that the time for a dignified GG has already passed, but you know, you don't have to drag it out forever.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Zuhören.
Yeah, let's see if Germany loses those 2 tanks in the south. Unlikely though, because he has some
Zeigt
tanks
es
there.
ihnen.
Because he doesn't push out with them.
Very unlikely, just by pure math of how
Yes.
many tanks
Befehle.
Germany has. Like
we
currently
go.
6 tanks versus 4.
He's going to counter encircle like that's like so many tanks, 4 tanks.
Yeah, like the tank in the south, for example, seems to be pretty dead now.
Angetreten.
There they all go.
Befehle.
Oh, needs to
Yeah, Dwight just
attack
needs to
those.
pin, or not Dwight. PD just needs to pin, and all of those tanks are dead.
Yes.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Befehle.
So
You
he
gotta
did move
attack
his
it.
2 tanks up too far, so now he can't pin the southern tank, which
Oh,
might get out.
This is
just
gonna be
because of
bad. Yeah.
that. It's like he's being very sloppy with his tank play currently.
Well, he might still get the 3 there.
He's probably gonna get the northern ones, yes.
Still,
We'd have to play incredibly sloppy not to get those.
yes.
Ihre Befehle.
Well, he got 2 out of 3. Still, obviously, very good, considering the situation.
You mean 3 out of 4?
Huh?
You got 3 out of 4 tanks there.
Oh yes.
Finally.
What did he give up?
No, look at
Oh,
Moscow.
oh shit! Shit! We didn't pay
What?
attention! We didn't pay attention!
No, he didn't.
Oh no, how could we be so preoccupied with the encirclement?
Zuhören.
Like we
that's
see
a
it
GG.
every time when it fails, but like we don't see it when it succeeds.
No, we did see it last time where
Yeah. Yes.
he got all the way to the German one.
Yeah.
Befehle.
Good job, good job. Though
Also,
honestly,
there's a German division off the Portuguese coast if you can't see it. I don't know why.
What?
Zuhören.
sadly I can't see.
Oh, it's strategically redeploying to the south.
Oh my god.
Where is it? Tanks?
No, it's infantry.
Okay, strange.
Oh, it's not even strategically. What is this? Oh yeah, this is extremely weird.
Yeah, good job. This was nearly a complete annihilation of the Russian army as well. Would have loved to
Not
see
quite as
like,
badly as with Markoni.
Yeah.
I mean, the Russians are down to 7 tanks and 67.
Yeah, 4 of them are encircled.
Yep.
Yes.
So good job. Also good job to Dwight. Thanks for playing, I would say.
Thanks for playing.